What's up, y'all? We want to welcome you to the next episode of the BeWellBro podcast on www.BeWellBro.org. I'm your host, Coach Coop, transformational educator, life coach, father, friend, mentor, neighbor, all of those above. And on today's episode, I have the privilege of introducing someone who I've known, I want to say, for a long time before they knew themselves or they thought they knew themselves. He would always bother me as the dean and director of coaching at Eagle Academy, the all-boys school in Brownsville, Brooklyn. But he's been a shining star since the day that I met him. And he's been a shining star even in our years past when I used to be a barber. He used to be a young man who used to come to the barbershop. So we have like a lot of degrees of connection. But he is now an internationally recognized speaker, a journalist, a youth advocate, an author, and a narrative shifter. Jordan Pierree is a force in modern storytelling with over 40,000 followers on Instagram and 100,000 on TikTok, alongside features of like Tamron Hall Show and the Hoda and Jenna Show. He has harnessed the power of his voice to educate, inspire, and mobilize his generation of young Black men and women through traditional and modern forms of media. Through his own experiences and education behind the scenes of the media we consume, Jordan has come to understand how media is not only a tool used to tell stories, but also shape identity. And he is that through and through. He has a number of accolades. Also, if you remember, one of the most inspiring speeches that he did at Syracuse University went viral, and I think that kind of like sparked his career, where he talked about you talked about just the generation of Black and brown people and all of the conditions that we go through today. And when I seen that, I knew then that you were going to be a force to be reckoned with. If I didn't know now, Jordan Pierree, brother, cousin, welcome, man. How you been doing, man?
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm looking forward to having an engaging conversation, but you always served as a mentor to me. So a big part of who I am is having mentors in my life and being a part of a community.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I appreciate that you always consider me as a mentor. We go way back, and I think that, you know, the people that Jordan have come to love and admire, you know, I ask a lot of young people, Jordan Pierree, just kind of like putting the temperature out there to see if you popping. And they be like, yeah, oftentimes I've invited you to spaces to speak to young men, and they were excited to have you a part of it. But to me, you're Jordan who would, you the Jordan that I knew would come inside of my office and drive me and Miss Dixon crazy, singing them old school songs like you've been here before. Oftentimes we would have a lot of fun banter together. And I always knew, because you were always a young man who, you didn't allow the conditions in community and the conditions that you actually physically experience allow you to go down paths that many young men like yourself have went through. I think you've always managed to stay above that. And I just want to know, and my first question is, one, how the hell did you do that at such a young age? Who were some of your influences that kind of like kept you astray, or what experiences did you go through to like teach you early in your life, how to be above the conditions in community?
I think the first one was just having a father figure in the household, right? So my stepfather played the role of my father, Rotten. He taught me a lot of things and instilled certain morals in me as a young Black man on how to navigate certain spaces. And I think one of the things that we lose is understanding the importance of a father in households, right? So one of the things I was met was, before I even interacted with the community or school, I was given certain principles and morals that was being instilled in me at home. Feel me? He was teaching me certain things like prior planning for this poor performance, right? Or just because everybody doing it don't make it right, and just because it's a trend don't mean that it ought to be followed. This is before social media became what it is today.
Yeah.
So with having some of those things instilled in me at that time period, and then being met with the world, I already had a certain foundational criteria I was assessing the world through. So when I went to school and I see everybody else, I'm looking at them like something might be a little bit wrong because I'm being taught different. Like if everybody, Eagle Academy was an old boys school, and I'm saying prior playing was a poor performance. Mean I need to iron my uniform the night before. Everybody wore different color sneakers, but you're supposed to wear black shoes. I had to wear black shoes. And I'll be like, nah, why I can't wear my Jordans? And I had it. And he like, nah, just because everybody doing it don't make it right. And just because the trend don't mean it ought to be followed. So even at that time, I started to learn certain lessons like, you're going to have to learn how to identify who it is that you want to be and do what's right, even if everybody else is going against what you know to be right. Feel me? He even said it's dare to be different, right? Knowing the importance of being different, knowing that it's okay to be different. When I was in the neighborhood, I see everybody doing what they doing, but I knew it was okay for me to be different. The other part too is that my community did embrace me, right? They say like a child that don't feel reaffirmed by his village will burn it down to feel his warmth is an African problem. But a part of my experience, I can't just say like I became who I am through certain decision. The other part of it is the community aspect, right? Like I wouldn't be who I am today without them. And that's why I got that big relationship with them. That's why I try to put together events to bring back that neighborhood and that feeling. Like we often say we need leaders. I don't need leaders. We need a community because leaders can't raise children. I need a community to do so because there's certain things I can't teach a child by myself. There's some things you good with the wellness. I may not be able to teach wellness to a child, but I can teach them how to effectively speak and how to carry themselves in professional spaces. That's the community aspect of an ecosystem of how we can meet different needs that a child need in order to develop to the individual want them to become, right? But another part of it is like before it was a shootout in the hood, they say, yo, JL, go upstairs. You feel me? They looked out for me. It was certain things I wasn't even privy to. I had to be in the house before it got dark. Another part of it, I just listened. You didn't have to tell me too many times that, yo, Jordan, go upstairs. I'm not asking, yo, why I was doing it. I wasn't curious for the wrong thing.
Yeah.
You said Jordan be in the house before the street lights came on. I was home. They say, yo, Jordan, dude, I'm listening. So I think another part of it is my generation got to know when to just listen, bro. It's sometimes when you knew you were supposed to go home and people told you don't go there and you went. So it's some situations we got into because you ain't listened to the instructions you was given. You didn't have to tell me too many times. You said, Jordan, go home. I went home. Yo, Jordan, after school, come home. Go to practice. I had a routine. It was things that I ain't always like how it was taught to me, but I understood it now. You feel me? So I think a part of this also, I just listened. You didn't really have to question or seek if Jordan was going to listen to it. And they then put me in certain leadership positions. They know if we got to trust anybody that's going to follow direction, we could give it to Jordan.
So you kind of caught that early,
early, and then I had an older brother. We got to talk about Corey.
Yeah. I was about to say I wanted to bring Corey up. Yeah,
was the one that was in the street.
Yeah. Corey was outside.
I had a certain lens of what that trail or that trajectory in life was already going to entail. I seen my brother lose 5 friends in the summer. It's nothing about that's to be glorified. So I even say like we applaud our scholars as much as we applaud our criminals. Our community look different. It's nothing about that lifestyle I look up to. I would never forget that night I heard Corey cry when he lost his friend down there. Like if anybody that lost loved ones to the streets, there's nothing that we want to applaud about it. I remember hearing him cry. Like the crowd, you don't even hear the sound, you just gasping for air.
Yeah.
I remember those nights. I remember they had a block party. It's not a block party. They had a Save Our Streets. You know how they come and organize.
Yeah.
They used to always do marches. And they did a rally. And I remember the mother took the stage. Their mom took the stage. She said, I lost my son because of y'all. Like, I remember those words. So as a child, there's certain memories that I remember. Like, vividly, I remember those words. She said, I lost my child because of y'all. You feel me? I remember that. So it's certain things I seen through my brother that once I seen, I knew that lifestyle's not attractive to me. I don't need to go down that road to see whether it'd be beneficial for me if I seen somebody else already travel down. I seen my mom worry. I seen officers knocking on the door 2, 3 a.m. looking for my brother. I seen in the trauma of like, people can't call after 2 a.m. or 12 or midnight. Because if the phone rang at that time, we automatically assume something wrong
happened to Corey, yeah.
You feel me? I'm already programmed that way. I went to sleep. Nights I'm like, yo, I hope I don't lose my brother. Like I won't even go to sleep until he came home. Because I wanted to make sure my brother was home.
And he's no longer with us, right?
He's no longer in the street to that extent. But it I seen the worry of my brother being in those conditions with that brought upon my mom. I seen him lose friends. So it was nothing about that life that based on what I seen, it wasn't advertising. It wasn't something that I was attracted to, and I went through the other way.
Got you. That was all the scared straight you needed.
That's all I needed. It was directly in my household.
Yeah.
If you don't know how that feel, worrying if you gonna lose your brother. That's my big brother.
Yeah, I think so. So I mean, obviously, I'm older than you. It doesn't look like it, but you know, I just joking.
You're like 25. You're good.
But I think, to that same extent, I can relate because my 2 older brothers, I kind of seen it as well. Although I did to some degree succumb to the community because of the time that I grew up. And I mean, violence is violence. but it was just like at my doorstep back in the 90s. So like in order to like just even go outside, you had to be tough. Like you had to survive that. And I did fall victim from, fighting all the time and things like that. But I had a foundation. And I think that is what you're speaking to.
Right.
There was a foundation and I had moral, like someone always pumping morality into the way that I thought. And it was my pops and my moms as well. Like, although I grew up in the ghetto, I still had levels of stability in my household that allowed me to set myself apart. So I say all that to say, like, I agree with you. Like, foundation is critical, and when you don't have that, you end up kind of like falling apart.
Foundation is critical and community is critical.
Yeah.
If the household failed to meet certain criteria that a child need in that stage of psychological development, that's where the community come into play. Like, another part of it is, even if I wanted to do it, I wasn't going to be allowed to. The neighborhood, if somebody tried to sell me weed, they'd do the person trying to sell me.
Yeah.
Like how they looked out for me, it was like, nah, J.O. is the one that's going to be the president.
Yeah.
It was no Jordan couldn't do it, right? So that's the community aspect though. And that's what we need is for us to create an ecosystem where we starting to look out for our children.
Yeah. Why? And I don't know, you probably don't know the answer to this, and this is hypothetical, but like, why do you think they picked you? Was it because your family nucleus and the neighborhood? Yeah. Like, what was it?
The first is that I say my family has certain relation, like cousins, uncles, they was born and raised in the neighborhood. So there's some people that off the respect and the strength that's so-and-so child, I'm gonna leave them, it's not gonna happen to him. But the other part, when I think this something that we don't talk about, is that the neighborhood, or like we want to say the hood or ghetto, they love to see somebody doing right.
Yeah.
And we do look out for our leaders or those that's moving
doing the right thing
that we know is needed for our community. So I don't like that narrative that makes it like you always trying to grab in the barrel. That's the case. The neighborhood love me. When I go to speak, I brought my whole family up to Syracuse.
Yeah.
Whenever I get invited, I'm bringing the neighborhood love Jordan. They like, yo, Jordan, whatever you need, bro, we love what you're doing. I would love for my child to be like you, and I wish I could have done that.
Yeah.
But I fell victim to certain things, but I'm not going to let you fall victim to what I fell victim to if I can protect you from it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So I think that's a narrative out there to make sure we denounce is that the neighborhood do love I ain't gonna say heroes, but they love their leaders. They love to see men that's taking strides to becoming something more than just our environment. The last thing I'm gonna say is like this, even this idea that you're a product in your environment. We got to denounce that too, because I'm a product of Brooklyn, right? But they tend to only show us certain narratives or certain lenses to which the product was created. But Brooklyn created more than just one product. I'm a product of Brooklyn. Jay-Z is a product of Brooklyn. But to know that the environment don't just create one or two products, which is to die or to go to jail.
Yeah.
Successful products.
People, yeah, absolutely.
Only show us the two lenses of the alternative. It's going to make it seem as if to be a product of our environment has a negative connotation when it ought not to be.
Yeah, now that's spot on, man. You sound like me. I'm just joking. Yeah. So there's another aspect of you too that I think, I don't know if you take into consideration, but you was also like an entertainer. Now, everybody know you for your voice and you speaking, but it was something else that you brought to community in the neighborhood. I remember you as a little kid. Yo, you was nice and ball. Like you played basketball. You were a young savant in it. Obviously, your step pops Rodney had a big part to playing you and having you in basketball. But Jordan was sought out in your elementary, middle school, and the beginning of your high school career. So like, I want you to talk about like what that journey was like.
That's a big part of it, because I wasn't just like a scholar, how people see me today. I was always like a scholar athlete, meaning I was always efficient academically, but I definitely was good in ball.
Nah, he was nice. He was nice.
The thing about it is that I ain't gonna act like athletes' voices heard first. That's the reality, that we do love our athletes. And so me being good in basketball was the first lens through which I started building community. That's when people really looked out, because that's J.O.
Yeah.
Tournaments.
Yeah.
Right? So before they even know I was speaking or I went to church, it was J.O. playing ball. I want him on my team. So I would go to different tournaments, and I was able to go to different parks that other people had beef with because I was good in ball.
Yeah, you was
So
nice.
now this also speaks to how different neighborhoods became known with who I am. It's like they knew me first from basketball. It's like, nah, J.O. is from Gates. We may not like who come from the area, but he played ball, y'all. And I would be able to go and be the individual that everybody else couldn't go to Tompkins, couldn't go up to Kingston and True, but I was there to play basketball, and that's how I was embraced by other communities.
Yeah.
So that's a big aspect of who I was playing ball. And I really used to cook people.
Not used to. That you was nice. I gotta give you a flower.
Just go to like the schools, what we call boarding school.
Yeah, definitely.
They have certain D1 Division 1 to scout me. Jordan, the brand, they wouldn't be a part of their camp and was gonna pay for me to go to a boarding school.
Yeah, now you're nice.
Ball, like I really was at the 23 gym. Like I really was playing ball. I played in front of Melo and at the New York Knicks gym. Like I was really playing ball. Right, but I also was a scholar at the same time.
Now you were. You drove me crazy. So I think that's where our relationship kind of like really formed. Not really your middle school. I was there in your middle school career, like your journey. But high school is because I ran the high school.
It's funny you saying that because that was what also was the differentiator. Because most times, athletes aren't always shown to be scholars too, right? Mm-hmm. But the fact that I was going to play, get 25, and then I can speak at our convocation, was like, nah, Jordan's the athlete, so the voice of the school.
Yep. Also doing poetry as well. Like, poetry.
But I got a poem working on it. I got to perform. I do whatever is needed to get that to the neighborhood together. But I did play ball. People don't often talk to me.
Yeah, they don't. And I want to stay on that thread because there were, you were really good. Like, you were like ranked. You know what I mean? Like you were on your way. And obviously the school that you went to, I think they weren't ready for your level of talent from a standpoint of it being a new school. Yeah. So they didn't have all of the mechanisms in place, which I think kind of like definitely played a part in your direction. Yeah. But I distinctly, this is like and I consider it a cloudy, I don't know how dark it was in your life. Yeah. And we often talk about it behind the scenes, but I want to say it publicly. I distinctly remember when you had to make a decision. Yeah. And that decision, and I don't really know, because I never really asked you like what you got tired of or what was making you shift. You made a decision on whether you was going to continue to allow basketball to be the prominent and the dominant figure in your life, or you was going to step into your voice, your physical voice more. And, we were in the hallway of the school and I was like, yo, you got to choose what's best for you. You took that information and we never really talked about it again. But like, what was that moment like, I think, when that pressure was on you?
It definitely was a lot too. And nobody ever talked about that story. When I did have to make a decision, and it was a lot going on behind the scenes and within the realm of the team in itself, right? It was a different coaches that came in, right, that had their own different system. And I do believe, systems play a role in how efficient a player could be. No matter how good you are, like you see with Baker Mayfield, I always use him as an example. When he was at a team, he wasn't good, but he switched to a different team and under a different system, and he thrived. So that changed, but there's a lot of things behind the scene. A big part was also my father, right? He always say that he don't want basketball to use me, right? He started to see in the neighborhood that once you became an athlete, people put aside academics. It was like, yo, you an athlete. They didn't really care much about how you was passing class, but he always say you a scholar athlete. And that's when I started using that term, or even like a Rhodes Scholar. And they used to even call me Blue Chip, right?
Yeah, Blue Chip. Movie. Yeah.
Definitely, it was a lot going on at that time. And I did have to make a decision. But a part of it was because, Rodney did put certain things in my ear at the time. And it's something I had to live with. The only thing I regretted was I felt like I quit basketball, right? And that's one of the biggest things. And what happens when you quit in life at anything is that you try to make up for in other aspects. So because I felt like it was a void that I couldn't replace, I had to go harder academic. I had to use my voice a little bit more because I felt like it was a void that I need to make up for by cutting. Because after you make a decision, a big part of it, you stand on your decision as a man. So when I walk away from basketball, that's something that even to this day, it's like, it's a void there. Like, yo, that's the only day I ever quit in my life. And I never quit it since that day. And now people could trick me out my spot by saying I can't do something because of that experience. I might need therapy or something, but like, if you make me feel like I can't do it, now I got to show you that I can. Because I remember that time period where I felt like I quit on myself.
Yeah.
Nobody ever told me about that part, but like, that was big because basketball was an intricate part of my life when it came to building teams, families, travel experiences, and I had to make a decision. But I do think even in the spiritual aspect that this time with God will shift you, right? Because another part of it that people don't talk about, I was taking this thing called Accutane. I had bad acne. And when I took Accutane, my body had different reactions where I would catch Charlie horse and I couldn't feel my body as much. So even my performance wasn't as what I wanted it to be. And I wasn't feeling myself as much, right? So it was certain things that went on outside of just the realm of basketball was impacting my performance. And it led to me making a decision. And the way I use it, again, it is a boy did because I felt like I quit. But I do think it's also like a transition. Because how I use my platform now is in a manner that I'm not gonna say basketball couldn't do, but it's also needed outside the realm of like athletes and entertainers that we do need a rise of our scholars. We got a book with Malcolm X, but we not seen us being portrayed in that lens no more. But basketball definitely was something that was a big part of my life, and even to this day, it's like
that what if.
Yeah, the what if, but it's more like I'll never quit anything else in my life because I did feel like that was something I let go. That was a big part of who I was.
Yeah, I first of all, I want to thank you for sharing that in that vulnerability. And
about that.
Yeah. But I think then I seen it and I was able to speak to it with you because I lived it, right? Like people don't know that I was a musician. Like I played trumpet, when I was younger, and that was something that I was like good at. It allowed me to travel. Yeah. It allowed me at a young age to play with likes of Wynton Marsalis. But the streets, I couldn't balance the two, and I was more of a street kid than I was the Jordan, if you will. And then I made my own decision, like, this ain't gonna get me nothing, and I put it down, and it is, and I can relate to the fact that it is something that I like think about, like, damn, what if?
Yeah.
And in my journey, I tried to match it with music, like doing hip hop. And I was successful, and then I quit that, and I had to find my voice, and then it became what I'm doing today. So like, although they're all connectors, there's still that kind of like feeling of like, what if?
And I think that's the only thing that was for me was like I was good at things simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was still good at speaking, I still was good at academics, and I was an athlete, right? Some people may solely be athletes, but even a conversation like when you being stripped of something that was a big part of who you was, you feel me? And a part of your identity, it's a hit. And many of us don't talk about it. It's like what happens when what you really base your identity upon is something you stripped of.
Yeah.
You have to transition and find a new form of what you would use to channel your voice, to shape your identity, and to define who it is that you are outside of what it is that you once used to define as the E.
Yeah.
Big transition. That's something I never talked about, but it definitely is something that was a big step in my life in making that decision. Looking back at it now, it works out and goes.
Yeah, absolutely. You made it.
Definitely was like something that was a big, because that's a big part of it. Even the notoriety, relations with professors, teachers.
Yeah,
it's like he's also one of our top athletes.
Yeah.
Other young men, we even feel inclined to look up to me. It's like even before I speak, it's like, nah, J.O. nice. I want to be like J.O. It was times where I played in the hood and they like, we knew we was going because Jordan was on our team.
Yeah. Right? No, absolutely.
They was like, nah, that Jordan coming to the park. It's like, we got a game today.
Yeah.
I remember ref was like, oh yeah. Like when we play against Jeff or something, because that was like top team, they like, oh yeah, Jordan here, it's going to be a game today.
Yeah, absolutely.
They come outside for that.
Yeah, man.
That was like the love, right?
Nah, absolutely. It was there, man. Like, I also want to ask you, like, because you had to make that decision, like, early in your life while you were transitioning on to college.
Right.
So, and I mean, you didn't go to no janky university, right. So Syracuse basketball University is a mecca. Like your gyms in Syracuse are massive.
Let's talk about
so it's like now you on this campus.
Yeah.
You ain't know. I don't know if you knew what you were going for. Like what you're. So now you going with this burden of like, oh man, I let this go, but you got these like dope new opportunities. How did that impact you in your first year?
Yeah, so that's crazy because even basketball didn't play a big role. So when you go to the school, most of the young men, definitely in Syracuse, the first place you're gonna meet them was at the gym.
Yeah.
At least everybody got the swag, that get the girls. We in the gym. And then the girls watching the game. So I get to the gym and this is funny because freshman year, again, when I coming through the HEOP program, was Higher Education Opportunity Program. It's only a few people that's from the neighborhood. I went to Syracuse. One is Caitlin from Eagle, right? So we get there, and most people, I speak. The first reference they have of me because I delivered the ceremony speech for us being inducted into HEOP. So now they too see me as the speaker.
Yeah.
So I remember I'll get to the gym, right? Feeling older heads and all that, and they like, all right, yo, we playing ball. I'm like, yeah, I want to play. People don't even know that I can play or whatever, and I'm really playing. I remember there was a football player, and I guess he was nice and bull too. And they like, yo, you think you nice? And they talking, yeah, play me one-on-one. Like, I bet. I really hit him with
They
them.
don't know you-
It's I scored. I was really like,
They ain't know you had the secret weapon.
that was really another part of even how I built a community at Syracuse was through the athletic part. Like going to the basketball court is how I got some of my big brothers and mentors at that time. Cause it's like, yo, J.O. played ball.
Yeah.
But then they was even inclined to be like, I'll pull up to see Jordan speak. Cause I know him from the gym.
Yeah.
But then they hear me speak, they're like, oh, nah, this really my guy.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
now people like, yo, so now where I'm at in my life, I'm getting back to basketball. I just bought me some sneakers and all that. Like, I can't lose that part because that's
man, that's another part of your identity.
I was like, I want to start showing a holistic representation of who I am, playing in some tournaments. Because once I score in Dyckman and all that, I'm going to tour.
Yeah.
But they gonna be more inclined to listen to what I'm saying when I can meet them on a level of relatability. And sometimes that's through sports.
Yeah.
But like when I went to the gym, I'm glad that's how girls started liking me. That's how I got some of my mentors, and people was more inclined to like embracing me as a freshman because I was one of the best freshmen.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I'm pretty sure people like, you need to try out for the team.
Yeah, so Rodney, my stepfather was like, boy, try out. You even be a walk-on. And even the coaches was like, yo, we'll let you try out to be a walk-on.
Yeah.
And I ain't even...
Yeah. That
again, that boy.
Absolutely.
It's like, nah, it's a wound there. But
Yeah. But I'm glad though, because most people won't rehash or try to have it as a thing. I'm glad that you're at peace now and you're able to say, you know what? Yo, I could go play in a tournament and allow that to be a part of who I am. Yo, I could actually create a tournament and then have holistic wellness and community all together. Because like you said, community is in basketball. Like that is sports is something big in Black and brown community. So like you don't have to lose all of it. It may not be what you envision, but like, yeah, creating those elements I think is really, really dope, man. Yeah, bro, and I'm glad that you're able to find peace with it. So now, you Jordan Pierree. I mean, one time he was calling himself Michael. I don't know why. We're not even gonna get into that. I was like, this guy got an alternate identity, but I mean, he gonna get into that. But so
that's how you know.
Like, why you calling yourself Mike? I never said nothing about him, but this guy's still trying to find himself. But it's all good. But now you JP, you Jordan Pierree, you have masked this following. Your voice is not only big, but it is articulate and intelligent. And I think you just got, just big things happening. So like, as you navigate this space, like, what is it that you feel you are trying to bring to the world?
And I'm glad you say that because what I often say is that most times before you pursue anything, try to look for a reference or somebody that's doing it in a manner that you can learn from, right? And what I come to understand is that I never really seen somebody in the lens to which I've been created and how I can lead, right? Like I don't imagine Martin Luther King good and bold, right? You feel me? Imagine Malcolm X that's also sitting there and can come in the hood, he could play ball, he also could entertain, joke, because I could host the whole comedy show if needed. Like I could really make a vibe and an energy in this thing.
Yeah.
So a part of it is that I had different references for different parts of my identity, but now I'm coming to a space where I have to make that holistic, and now that's gonna be a different realm, right? Because I haven't seen nobody that could do it as such. Like I could come in the hood, bring the neighborhood together, speak to the hood. I could go to the White House, deliver the message at the White House, go to Syracuse, speak at Syracuse, but then I also go to a boot camp and teach there as well. Like I could facilitate in 4 different realms.
Yeah.
But that's who I am. We could go to church. I could speak to you about the Bible as I'm reading it, learning different scriptures. And we can have a biblical or a conversation rooted around religion. We can go play basketball if we really need to actually get in a tournament and play, right? We can also have an intellectual conversation, not just around media, but school, academics, and education. And then we could talk about our hood, our community, our upbringing. Yeah. And we could talk about girls, right? Like holistically. So that's where I'm at now. And I never really could envision me getting hit. And I think that's why you have to go through and undergo certain experiences.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's through experiences that you equip with lessons, knowledge, and then can have these dialogues, conversations. Like I couldn't talk to you about wellness without first going through something that required me to get well.
Yeah.
For me to be well, I had to be unwell.
Yeah.
I had to learn how to be well.
Yeah.
Like I had to be in a place where mentally
that was a dope drop, yo.
I had to be somewhere I didn't feel like I was mentally stable in order for me to learn the importance of mental health, doing yoga, things that such. So for me, it's learning how to embrace those identities and not feel as if one come at the expense of another. Because I feel like another part of media, and that's why I speak to, is like, in a poem I said I'm working on, I said, show me my leaders that's lovers too. Why every image of Malcolm X depict him as militant, as if he wasn't also a loving father too. Like in my mind, I'm like, we never got a holistic representation of any leader. You see Louis Farrakhan, we see Louis Farrakhan as Nation of Islam speak. We don't see him as a father figure. The role he played nurturing his wife. Malcolm X, we see Malcolm X as this, he always was on speaking on point on regards to uplifting and organizing the community, but we never seen him with his daughter. Like we didn't see the interaction with him and his wife. So it's like we never shown a holistic representation of a leader. So there's times where I felt like I couldn't show me being a basketball player as well as an advocate, also as someone that is a motivational speaker, someone that is in the neighborhood. I didn't think I could show all like I felt like one come at the expense of another. And in this world, it makes it seem as if you need to bring yourself to be one thing.
Yeah, man.
So what happens when you have multiple talents or different identities that you exhibit, and how do you feel like you could exhibit all those without, it coming at fault of one another? And that's been the hardest thing that I had to face. But I feel like I don't have a choice. Like the workout video that I posted was hard at first. I didn't know I was gonna post. I didn't think so. But I'm like, that's against my brain as being this person speaking about me.
Yeah.
But I'm more than that, right? Yeah. So now I should play in a tournament, post a reel in tournaments. Why would I not?
Yeah,
Let's
man.
go play in Dykeman. Let me go to the Queen of Harlem. Let's do that.
Yeah, it's so powerful that you mentioned that. I think there's so many things that are swirling in my mind based on you saying that. But, to your point, I think we box our people in, and we, like, someone will say you're all over the place.
Right.
Right? And that's not true. That's actually you just giving people an insight or a peek into all aspects of who you are. I thank you for that. I think that someone told me one time years ago, like, yo, who are you? Like, we can't figure out who you are. Like, you're doing too much. And I kind of like took that in, and I was just like, all right, cool. So everybody gonna just know Barry as like the dope wellness facilitator who impact the lives of young men. But there's so much of me that I don't give people.
Well, you was a barber.
You
do poetry. You talk about wellness through music. I remember these conversation dialogues that we had. Feel me? But like you said, the world does try to make you feel as if you need to cage yourself in.
Yeah, so man.
You start to stifle yourself a certain parts of who you are, and you don't even show it no more because you feel like that's against your brand. We talk about sponsorships. You like people want to sponsor what they know.
Yeah.
Not just that. So I had to then put myself in the realm of like an entertainer. Cause I feel like entertainers are the only people that get the realm to be everything.
Yeah. You can metamorph. Yeah. Absolutely.
Like the entertainer go sit there, go to church. They could give you some scriptures. They could go party. They could drink. They could hang out with the politicians. And it's like, okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, it's like, I gotta be one thing. And that's the thing I had to combat mentally, because that's all a mind game, right? And that's all psychologically. So where I'm at right now, I've never been before. I feel like I'm in a new version of who I am. And it's like now I'm starting to embrace all my identities, and it's all coming together.
Got you. So, you have this your brand Voices.
Yeah, Voice.
What was the inspiration behind it? What does it mean to you? And like, what do you want the world to take in from that?
In Voice, when it first started, I was at Eagle Academy, and at that time, I felt like it was a reaction to my environment. The movie The Hate You Give came out, and there's a particular scene I know where the father was like, what are the 10-point programs?
Yeah, about the Black Panther.
Same way, he's speaking, saying 10-point program, Black Panther Party. But he was saying, there's a particular scene, he's like, what's your name? Star, Light, Sakani, Joy. And he said, what does this tattoo mean on my arm? They read it, said, by any means necessary, right? And it was like, he said, so I don't never want you about anyone to make you feel like you have to be cider, right? And I remember even in that same time period when they had their freestyle with Eminem, and Eminem was rapping, he said, I'm drawing a line in the sand for my fans, either you for and against. And he was making people take a stance. And then that was the definitely even Trayvon Martin that happened in 2012. So it was at these pivotal time periods in 2008 to 2012 that I just started understanding this importance of voice. And I always was speaking at the time. So at the time, what Voice became was like, how do I build a village of people that's willing to use their voice to confront injustice, right? What I'm thinking of Voice as today is more like the same realm, but I'm either saying like, how do we redefine and take claim of our narrative, right? So whenever I talk about media, it's like, I feel like I don't feel this African proverb that says, until the lion learns how to write the story, always glorify the hunter. And I feel like there's many narratives and stories that had not been shown on how we exist as a community, right? Certain movies that had been created that had not been shown in theaters, shows that had been removed off screen that I never knew about, and I had to do the research and learn the history and the context behind the media to which we are consuming, and even think about why is it that certain images are not being shown. So what voice stands for today is like I want to empower people to understand the power of their voice, in the realms of even if that's advocacy, but also if that comes as uplift and motivation, right? So I had to even expand my brand in that. Then I turned voice into the acronym, the V for vision, the O for ownership, meaning what is it that you take responsibility for, right? I for inclusion, the C for community, and the E for education. Because no matter what it is that you aspire to do, I do need you to effectively educate yourself. So that's what voice supposed to stand for, is how do you reclaim our identity, our narrative, and build, that take claim for our responsibility. What is that you own?
Damn, man, that's amazing, bro. You be dropping the mics. You got a lot of jewels in that, man. So I got two last questions for you. The first one is, voices moving. Everyone sees you, allowing us into your world. What's next? Yeah. What's the next project? What's the next thing that you look to do in your journey?
Yeah, and I'm gonna say this. I believe in many times in our life we use certain language that we've heard before, like I'm transitioning, right? And what I said, and I said this in the real, was that there comes a time where your transition has happened, right? And I believe that I have now transitioned to a new version of myself that I've never been before, where I now understand the importance of mental health. I did start doing yoga, learn how to ground myself and take ownership of it.
Nice.
Even taking claim of words like anxiety, something I never wanted to use. I felt like it emasculated us as men, saying you anxious. What you mean you anxious, right? But understand that there is certain emotions that we had to come to put language to and learn how to deal with. Because when I'm charged to speak, I understand I'm also fighting the spiritual barriers. Like I break certain spells that have been put on certain areas, right? So I had to learn that I do have anxiety when I speak. Yoga helped me to start off my morning and do that, reading the Bible and the scripture. So I feel like even this new season I'm in, I feel like I went through a certain set of experiences that have molded me to the individual that I am today. And what I'm focused on now is building a village, right? I want to build my own community, putting together events, showing how he exists outside the mainstream narrative. So having youth on different podcasts, building these spaces. Even if it's talk about religious, like how do I bring young Black men and women together, have a conversation around our faith, right? Talk about the importance of fasting. So what I'm doing is building a village of youth that combats the narrative, how we being portrayed. Building that with some form of community, but then traveling, doing speaking and symposium upon the power of media and shaping identity, but also wellness. So as I'm starting to embrace holistically what my identities are, I'm also gonna be doing some. So the biggest thing that I gotta come in next, it's gonna be a panel I'll be doing in Houston, but the first one is on the 9th, August 9th, where I'll be putting a community activation together, bringing my neighborhood, building a digital presence, whether that's YouTube, streaming, TikTok, because I understand that's the realm now and I have to adapt, right?
Yeah, gotta adapt to it.
Go extinct. And I'm seeing that's what youth are compelled to watch. And so I have to learn how to translate the knowledge and the skills that I have into a man that's now receptible to the digital generation.
Yeah, man, it's important.
I'm good at in-person conversation, but now I have to learn how to translate this digitally.
Yeah.
Build my own show. I always want to be like Trevor Noah.
Yeah.
Right? But we have the power to do so. I could set up a stream. I could do poetry. I could then do a podcast. Then I could close it out. And I just did with Steve Harvey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Show. Right? So
absolutely.
I told about that last night. Like, you have the power and the tools to do so. And that's why I encourage my generation to do is how do we now reclaim our narrative now that the line has the ability to write with our cameras?
Yeah.
Right, is how do we reclaim that narrative so that our stories aren't just glorifying the hunters, colonizers, or the oppressors?
Yeah, man. You could also kind of like invest in, right? Like movies that depict certain things or,
do that.
Yeah, man.
I don't know how that partnership happens, but I want to be a part of film festivals, American Black Film Festivals, Sundance. I want to be somebody that they call out. And I'll need to be able to bring a community with me though to watch the film.
Yeah.
I'm down and I break down into meanings and messages. So I even wrote down like a quick book about principles of liberation through movies, right? And I have like 10 movies of different principles that's applicable. So like American Skin.
Yeah.
When we think about American Skin by Nat Parker, and what I was saying in that film is that the goal is not necessarily to disrupt the system without being able to build our own and hold people accountable to our injustices.
Yeah.
In that film, he takes over the precinct, puts the officer that killed his son back on trial, has those that's incarcerated, serve as the jury.
Yeah,
and
man.
now we prosecute. So that's a form of principle of liberation through a film.
And it's also exposing the system to itself.
Right. And I'm doing that. So even when I said Judah and the Black Messiah, in the poem I'm writing, I say I say in real life I'm like Judah. In real life I'm like Fred Hampton from Judah and the Black Messiah. trying to organize much more than just my race, but a class. Because I don't give a F if you black, if you benefit from my injustice, you don't get no cash. Right? So what I'm trying to say is like, that's another principle of liberation is that aside of just organizing our race, we all trying to organize a class of individuals, right? Because you have people that's still victims of the same system of oppression. But that's a principle. So I wrote that down because now I'm thinking, if I go to speak, I can captivate certain audiences through film, certain things y'all remember growing up from movies.
Yeah, man.
Just watch In Too Deep.
Yeah.
When I took about politics, I could use In Too Deep as a reference for something.
Yep.
You not a cop, Jay Reed? Like, I just watched The Temptation. See all this.
Right? We just filmed, we just watched Fences.
Right. Oh, no, go ahead. This is with Denzel Washington. It's not whether I like you, it's if I respect
you. Yeah, absolutely.
I like you now to say this. Our generation wants to be liked.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Preferring to be respected.
100%.
It's not about whether I like you. Do I respect you?
Yeah. That was powerful, man.
That's a deep film.
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm doing now. Is like, how do you teach Pan-Africanism or principles of liberation through film?
Yeah. So just shameless plug and something that I would hope that you would want to be a part of. So here at the Bro Space Wellness Center, we do monthly screenings of movies. Yo, we could do it in partnership with you. You know, I know you rock heavy with Aaliyah. But something that I just thought about is like, yo, it could be a bro experience of voices, collaboration, and no telling, but at some point, we're going to be screening the movie Antebellum. I don't know if you've even seen that yet.
I haven't seen Antebellum.
I don't even want to tell you about, but we'll talk offline.
Let's do it.
Yo, you could actually be a young voice in the conversation.
So I said I just had to learn how to articulate what it is that I'm doing, because people say, what's voice? But a big part of it is going to be media, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
People that will come out and watch films with us, you know, even if it's not a partnership with theaters, whoever. I really want to do film directors, because we have right now we're seeing a regress when it comes to funding, right? That's NPR, PBS, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting is getting $500 million cut from its budget to send this right now. Think about if they're going to pass the policy or not. But what I'm saying that all to say is that we're in a time period where it's now about independent producing of films, right? And now we have to be more community oriented. And I believe that if anybody that sees podcasts that have films, I mentioned that American Black Film Festival because that's one that I've been to. It's in Florida. But whoever has films that they feel like they want to be shown and they want to bring the neighborhood to see it, let's collaborate.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we got the space, we got the screens, like we can do it, like literally right now. So, that's dope. That's dope. Like we're gonna definitely talk offline because you need to be a part of this and let's build it collectively. My last question is, and everybody has to answer this question when they come on, because it actually names what this conversation is going to be. But as you think about, and I mean, your journey you have a whole lot more to go. I think you are right at the precipice of like just really cracking what it is that you want open. But when you think about your whole life up until now, if you had to put a title to it, a soundtrack, if you will, name the journey, what would that album be called? What would that title be called if you had to put a soundtrack to it? What's the soundtrack to your life?
So I'm gonna use the title because I'm writing a book, right? And I called it Refuse to Succumb to Silence, the story of a Brooklyn boy. And what I mean by that is like, I refuse to allow the world to silence. And I believe that everyone's voice have power. Most people are asking like, how did you come to identify your voice? I don't think that's really the question they're asking. I think the question becomes is how do you find the courage to use your voice? For we all already have one.
Say the title one more time.
It's Refuse to Succumb to Silence, the story of a Brooklyn boy, right? And for me, I just refuse to come in silence. Whether I was in Syracuse, I used my platform whenever I earned it or was given one to speak upon, a larger context of how we existed outside the context of how we've been portrayed. So in all aspects, I'm always going to use my platform whenever I'm given it to speak upon something that's larger in context. So I just refuse to come in silence. And the way I put it, I'm using an analogy for something that actually happened in my life where I was supposed to speak in front of the dean in Syracuse, right? And I remember I rejected the opportunity to do so because they wanted to keep amending the speech that I was going to say, right? And what I was telling, I used the analogy like the gas stoves. I don't know if people have this no more, but I grew up with one. And you know, when you turn it on, click, 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 turn on, boom. And if you turn it too high, it would turn off.
Yeah.
Right. And what she was doing was she kept trying to amend this speech. And what I was using now is like she kept trying to turn down my fire. Right. And what I want y'all to know is like, don't allow the word to ever turn down that fire that you got in you. There's times you allow the word to strip you your dreams, your aspirations, and the visions that you had because other people made it feel like if it wasn't attainable.
Yeah.
So for me, when I say refuse to come to silence, also in correlation to the idea like don't let nobody ever turn down your fire.
Yeah, and from a therapeutic standpoint, I think that what you're also refusing is like silencing the aspect of yourself to make the decision to become who you are, right? And that's going back to the 18 or 17-year-old guy who felt like they had to quit something, but that very kind of like that shaped or ironed out this and fortified this new character. Or, you know, and I don't mean character like it's a trait more than it is a figure. So, you know, that like refusing to falling victim to staying quiet or quitting is what was birthed out of your journey. And I think that that's dope, right? And now that you're reclaiming that part of you that you thought you gave up, right, is that story, right? Reliving itself. Yeah, absolutely, right? Like, so as much as you are telling people that to hold on to what they have, you are now allowing yourself to hold on to what you have, right? And it's not going, and yeah, you know what I mean? It'll be not even an ironic situation to, as you amass and build yourself, you now are the champion of the celebrity basketball, right? You get what I'm saying? Right? Like it's saying, how the degrees of separation will allow you to kind of come back to your starting point. Yeah, man. So I just want to, thank you for being a part of this podcast, man.
I appreciate you bringing me up here because you made me talk about certain parts of my story that most people never ask me about. That I guess a big part is because you do know me, right?
Yeah.
They're going to get a certain lanes into my lifestyle that I probably never really converse about. Some people don't even know I play ball.
Yeah.
Right. But even the idea, I think was a big part was like, knowing it's okay to show who you are holistically and know that don't come at the expense of you still being a leader.
Yeah, 100%. I don't even got to give y'all no gym because that was it. Listen, make sure you subscribe to this podcast, both on YouTube and on Spotify. Thank you, Jordan, for being a part of the show. I'm your host again, Coach Coop, and this is BeWellBro podcast on www.BeWellBro.org. And if nothing else in life, make sure you be well. Peace.